To learn means to be in a state of play, to live a life of curiosity, a life of inspiring one another, a life of connecting with each other, and a life of real conversations. Welcome to Natural Learning. Are you ready to rumble? Alright, I hope so, because today I want to talk about roughhousing, wrestling, and rough and tumble play. Roughhousing is essentially any activity such as wrestling, pillow fighting, sliding down stairs, jumping off the bed, and many other such activities. Many people are somewhat hesitant about roughhousing, but without it, you're actually missing out on a valuable and important way of connecting with your children. So let me explain. When children are still babies, we can connect with them by holding them, gazing into each other's eyes, soothing them, and cuddling them. But as they get older, there may still be some peaceful moments where we're reading a book to them and we might be cuddling them still, but children are not always in the mood to sit quietly. The great thing about wrestling is that it's an active interaction that can promote connection and confidence within children. And the message of roughhousing really is your power is welcome here. This is a place for you to be strong and connected without hurting anyone. And so yeah, this is a really great thing. Children roughhouse and wrestle for a variety of reasons, including to test out their strength and also as a way to have fun. They will engage in this activity play with other children, but there's tremendous value in doing it with an adult. So when children play fight together, they are often not so skilled in holding back or taking a break when needed. Other children may also be unsure what to do with the emotions that can come up in active play. However, when children roughhouse with an adult, they have a chance to be rambunctious with someone who can give them their full attention and help them deal with their fears, their hesitations, their impulses, and with their anger as well. It also provides a setting for children to explore their physical power and develop their confidence and assertiveness. So, many see roughhousing as a negative thing because the fighting involved, obviously, and that makes us think that somehow we're promoting aggression. People think that by banning aggressive play, they will somehow eradicate aggression, and that's just simply not true, and it just backfires. When children are unable to play out their aggressive feelings that they have inside, they may think that there's something wrong with them, because they're not supposed to feel violent or angry. And eventually the feelings of violence and anger will explode in a more uncontrolled fashion. What most people don't see is that through play fighting, children are learning to control their aggression. As the play therapist Lawrence Cohen points out, children need to come to terms with aggression, their own and others. And if we don't let them do it through play, they will do it in real life. So this is the really major value of roughhousing and rough and tumble play. And while there is much value in roughhousing, there are a few things that might be helpful to remember before you do get started and just start rolling on the floor. Yes, roughhousing and wrestling does have a dangerous element to it. So do know your limits and provide some basic safety. There is a difference between safety first and safety only. Ground rules such as no hitting, no biting, no punching, no kicking, and no headlocks might be a wise start. You also want to bear in mind that you don't want to emotionally hurt your child either, so don't humiliate them. Make sure that both of you have a way of saying when you need to stop or have a break. So for instance, this could be a code word that you use where the other person just stops once that word is said. And if they break a rule, and if safety permits, it's best to keep reminding them or using your physical strength to restrain them gently but firmly so that they can't hurt you, instead of just stopping the play altogether. This is the powerful benefit of a child wrestling with an adult, as with peers the child might not have the ability to restrain themselves, and play fights can turn into real fights instead. Just as I mentioned also in my last episode on chasing games, so check that out if you'd like to, provide just the right level of resistance. Much of the thrill comes from being in a vulnerable position and then escaping from it. You may start off by letting them win, but then offer more and more resistance as appropriate. Don't be scared to play the bumbling fool to start off with, so that they win and it brings about a laugh and a giggle. And that brings me to my next point. To know you're on the right track, watch out for these two signs. So yeah, giggling, and also the second sign like sweating, straining, exertion. Just know that children may go back and forth between having fun and feeling a bit powerless. Pay attention to your connection and watch out for any escalation in anger from them or from you. Remember, it's okay to take a break to cool off. And yeah, that brings a further thing as well, that adults will need to watch out for themselves. When roughhousing starts, we need to keep our feelings from getting in the way. And Lawrence Cohen again writes this regarding that. When adults first try to wrestle with children this way, they're often flooded with old feelings left over from their own childhoods. They may feel an impulse to humiliate, tickle, tease, or dominate the child, reflecting what was done to them when they were small, or they may feel weak and helpless. In fact, many people have an immediate negative reaction to the very idea of wrestling, either because they didn't like it as a child or because they have seen adults wrestle children while under the influence of old, buried feelings of rage, competition, powerlessness, or helplessness. The purpose of the kind of wrestling we're talking about is for the child to feel confident and powerful. Don't let old feelings of ours get in the way. Fighting against a much stronger adult who is out for blood, who desperately needs to win, is not terribly helpful for the child. So just remember, this is their time, not your time. So yeah, take note of yourself and your feelings. If you were discouraged from this type of play yourself when you were young, find ways to activate your physicality, even take a martial arts class or something like that. If you've grown up being encouraged to be very rough and very competitive, then realize that you may need to leave the competition and ferocity at the door. Don't wrestle when you're mad or frustrated, and through it all, maintain a connection and take a cuddle break if needed. Aim more for giggles than from the child than getting them to show some sort of superhuman physical prowess. So with all that said, you're ready to rumble. But where should you start with wrestling if you haven't done much of it before? Just simply start with things like you can say, let's wrestle, or try to get past me. Getting ready to fall over, roll on the ground, and generally act a bit goofy is all part of the fun. There is no one right way of doing it. Once you've got some basic moves down, you can also step it up by working on some more specific moves as well. And a great resource for this is the book The Art of Roughhousing by Anthony de Benedette and Lawrence Cohen. See some of the pictures attached for some of my favourite moves from that book that I like to do with my nieces and nephews. Do you want to learn more about roughhousing and natural learning? Just message me on Facebook and I'm happy to chat. But yeah, in summary, roughhousing is really important because it promotes connection and confidence within your children. And wrestling with an adult in particular promotes a safe place to explore and control aggression. And so when you're roughhousing, remember to keep it safe, follow the giggles and the laughter, and be aware of your own feelings throughout. Alrighty, have fun and wrestle away. Cheers, thanks, bye.